Today's video, we're going to talk about freelance, commission-only salespeople and how that actually works. I've seen people use commission-only salespeople successfully and not so successfully. And how that compares to just running ads for your website in today's environment, 2023 and beyond, given these are obviously two very proven successful ways to generate sales for your business. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of each and ultimately which one of these is way more profitable, which it's of course running ads. The problem is it's just difficult to understand how to run ads successfully. It's not something that you could just go learn in an hour, which anything that's easy in life isn't going to be worth jack shit. This applies and is true in business more than anything else. So, but it's not impossible to make ads work for your business. You're better off running ads for your business, generating your leads, and then just having your own salespeople, even though that costs money. The amount of money that you need to start running ads doesn't have to be very much money at all. You just have to be diligent in what you are starting out with, that $10 a month budget, if that's all you got, or the $100 a month budget if that's all you got, to make that $100 work so you can get to $200 a month and then keep building. Everybody that you see running a big campaign or big ad budget online for your competitors' businesses all generally started out somewhere, and it wasn't, spending 50 grand a month like you potentially see them do. It's just, the whole, it's just like out in the world where you see people that are successful. You didn't see what they all went through to get there. The people that run big ad campaigns started with a tiny budget. They got that to work, and then they kept reinvesting and building a bigger budget. And it's hiring commission-only salespeople to hurdle over all that work. If that was as easy as it was, nobody would run ads either. So anyway, I'm going to put this all into terms for you very, very well. So by the end of the video, you understand which one of these to go with, and what your options are essentially still at the end of the day, because it's still your decision to pick one or the other. Anyway, with that said, getting into the content here. Many people think hiring people whom you only have to pay if they make a sale is a panacea to bootstrap a company. Because let's all be honest and upfront here. The people that want to hire commission-only salespeople, it's because they can't afford a salesperson. Some people are hiring commission-only salespeople for other reasons, but the biggest reason is they think they can save money, or they don't want to take a risk hiring a salesperson that might not pay off. Got to pay them 5-10 grand a month, and they may not deliver, which I've seen plenty of our clients at our firm do that, and they don't pay off. Business development people, so on and so forth. So that is warranted to have that. It is a risk. You can minimize that risk by hiring people from your competitor, if you will, but even that is not so good, because if they were really good, your competitor would, if they were going to leave, would be willing to pay them more. It wouldn't let them go so easily, which is why poaching employees from your competitor isn't so good if you think about it from that angle. But there's other reasons why people hire commission-only salespeople, and the biggest and the most legitimate reason for this that actually makes sense is you could hire independent sales reps freelance salespeople that you're not paying out on salary, that you're paying on commission only, who already have industry contacts in your industry, assuming you're in an industry like that. But even if you have a unique product, there's people who already have relationships with the people you want to sell to. And this is obviously mainly about B2B selling to businesses, not selling to individual consumers, which for some of you guys, that would be the case as well, such as if you're selling solar, because in a situation like that, a deal is 10 grand. So you could have an independent person door knocking and have that work because the payday on making a sale is high enough to justify it. You're not going to get commissioned salespeople to sell a $20 broom. The math doesn't work out. So, but if you sell, nuts and bolts, and the people that you normally use your nuts and bolts are people that install solar, going with that general theme here, You could try to go to the solar companies that install solar to get them to buy your nuts and bolts, but it's hard to do to crack that nut. I could do it, and if anything a salesperson can do, you could do, but it's a lot. But why basically do it if you could find people who already are buddy-buddy with the people, the purchasing agents at the solar installers? It's just like a hack or a shortcut way into getting a big contract with the solar installer to sell your nuts and bolts to them, going through the person that already knows the person that would make that decision. And furthermore, probably, and the reason why they would have a relationship with that person who buys the nuts and bolts at the solar installer now, it's because the person normally sells to that purchasing manager at that solar installer, and they buy not just nuts and bolts from this person, but the wrenches, whatever they need to do the install. So they're getting, and in a lot of the B2B world, the people that are doing the purchasing at companies are buying it from a broker who they buy not just one item, but a lot of items in that industry. So there's specialists. There's just like to give you a equivalent of this, so that's easy to understand. In the restaurant industry, there's restaurant industry supplier/brokers, where if you're running a restaurant, you don't want to have to deal with the spoon and fork people and the tablecloth people. You deal with one guy who then will take orders for all the stuff. And if you sell forks and you want to sell to the restaurant owner or restaurant owners, it's much easier just to go to the guy who's already selling not only just the forks and spoons, but all the rest of the stuff. Not everybody goes through a broker like that, but you could go through the brokers for the ones that do and make most of their purchases through the recommendations of the broker to get in with the restaurant easier than going after the restaurant owner directly. That's why you use independent sales reps more than anything, not to necessarily get around having to figure out how to create a marketing strategy for your business and save money on salespeople per se, because one way or another, it's too good to be true for the most part, if you will. If it were so easy to do that, why isn't it your competitors aren't doing it? If you could just go start up a company doing what you're doing, assuming it can be replicated, why not? Why hasn't the competitor just hired 100 independent salespeople and then they use them to make all the sales? Because it's, with it being no risk to them, no upfront cost, and can be scaled indefinitely, because why not just add more of those people to scale your sales more? If that's all it took, why aren't they doing it? You got to ask yourself, chances are, if you see something, if you haven't seen it done in your industry, which is why it's important to do research in your industry and find out how things are done today, if nobody else is doing what you're doing, there's probably a reason why they're not doing it. Now, that's not necessarily true when we're talking about things like advertising, because people are too lazy to do the stuff that does a lot of the stuff. But for the most part, I'm talking about on a macro level. If independent salespeople are not used in your industry already to sell, there's probably a good reason why that is, okay? That isn't a rule you should live by in your business ultimately, no matter what, but the chances are not good. If nobody else is doing something to generate customers, it probably doesn't work. Same thing though, like with Google. If you go to Google, type in your keywords in your market and there's no ads at the top of Google, chances are Google ads doesn't work. You're not going to be the first one that gets it to work. Not a hard and fast rule, but just something to think about. So with that said, some other things to consider here. If salespeople, outside commission-only salespeople that you only have to pay when they get a sale for your company, could sell, okay, what are they going to do that you can't do for yourself better? Assuming you've got this magical commission-only salesperson that could sell your product or service and take a cut, and they manage all the hassle of getting the sales for you. If whatever they were doing, why wouldn't you just do that for yourself instead? You may say, well, I'd be happy to pay them, but I guarantee you, if somebody was doing it and you had to pay them 10% of the sales, and you could do it yourself and only have to pay out 5% of the sales cost, you obviously are going to you're going to say, F that salesperson, I'm going to do it myself. So it doesn't even make logical sense. Of course, these salespeople can hide what they're doing But for the most part, this is, if you're going to pay that salesperson, it's because they can do something that you can't do. If you could do what they are doing, it makes more sense to do it yourself because you're going to be able to do it cheaper / better than them, most likely, anyway. That's for the most part. You know, we got people, I run an ad agency, we got clients who buy leads from lead brokers. This is sort of a spin-off situation that I think is relevant here. They buy leads from lead brokers. So instead of buying ads and driving traffic to their own websites, they buy leads from lead brokers who have their own website, which then they buy ads to drive leads at their website, which then they sell the leads to them. Well, that sounds convenient and everything, there's no risk, but now you're beholden to this lead seller and they're marking up the cost of the leads. Why not just make your own ads? Yes, it's not easy to just flip a switch and to figure that out, but you're much better off long-term doing that for yourself. This is similar to that, if you will. And the part about being beholden to the lead seller, by the way, is a very important point because they can change the terms on you when you don't own your own source of business that comes in. Very, very important to consider that before you get started. You don't want to be building your foundation of what brings in revenue to your company on some bullshit, shitty, quicksand bullshit, basically. So these salespeople, they are getting you sales. If they could do it better than you for whatever reason, and they could do it better than you, even though you could also do it potentially, right? Who's to say these salespeople won't want a better and better deal once they find out how to sell your product or service? Because obviously the way that it goes with these independent salespeople, by the way, if you didn't know it already, you're going to hire 10 of them. One of them is actually going to produce some business. And then you're going to fire the other 9, and because you don't want them even wasting your time with questions or whatnot. Then you have to hire another 10 to find one, and you have to do that over and over again. You hire 10 to find one that's productive. Okay? So nothing's free. Yes, you don't have to pay them salary, but you're going to have to train them because they don't know your product or service, and how are they going to sell it without that training? So yes, you could say, well, here's a brochure, go at it. But I could tell you, you're not going to get, for the most part, unless it's real simple what you're selling, you're not going to have the success you want just doing that. You're going to have to deal with them. You're going to have to train them. You're going to have to coach them. All this other stuff too, which makes it not free. And makes it not that much better when you think about it from that angle than just paying an in-house salesperson, even though that seems expensive. So, but the important thing here is if you find somebody that can sell what you sell, let's say you were going back to that solar example, they could sell your solar panels, right? Find that salesperson who actually is productive. Who's to say if that they're not going to come back to you once they start selling, knowing they kind of got you by the balls because they're bringing you free money? They're going to ask for a better deal. You said you were going to pay them 10%. What if they say, hey Jim, I want 12% now? And you're saying, oh, I don't want to pay 12%. And they go, okay, I'll just go to your competitor and they're going to give me 12%. Now you're kind of fucked, right? Especially since when you pay them 12%, if they tell you the other independent salespeople what they're getting, now you got to pay them all 12%. Now you can see it turns into not such a sweet deal. This is why you're going to pay more in the long run than just figuring out how to generate your own leads in your business by running ads. So they could just ask for a better deal, and if you won't give it, they could just go to the competitor. Assuming you sell a commodity that's not that unique and they actually could sell somebody else's thing, they don't need you ultimately. They could go to anybody and then they're going to go to whoever gives them the best deal. Not to mention, if you sell a commodity product, the chances you find a good salesperson is very low because if they wanted to sell a product like yours already, they already would be selling somebody else's product in your industry already, if that makes sense. So that's something else to be said. Or if you were in that solar panel example, okay, the people that are selling can just, if it's that much of a commodity, even though you might think what you have is unique, it's a little bit more powerful. At the end of the day, if other people are selling it and for the most part, to the consumer, it seems mostly interchangeable. They could start their own company and keep all the profit and do the sales and then just have the delivery of the product or service done by somebody else. They're the one bringing in all the revenue. They'll just start their own little company. It's way too easy to start your own company. This might have worked back in the 80s where it wasn't so easy to just start up a company because the informational gap was much greater in terms of how to start up a company and all this and that. So that could be another way that your independent sales rep that you lucky enough were to find will just that opportunity just crumbles away once you have it. Okay? Now, with all that said, I know I just shit all over the independent sales reps. For the most part, you can get some good ones. They do exist. You just assume it's a limited opportunity. They're probably going to go somewhere else once they get a little bit of a big head, which that's generally how it ends. They bring more and more revenue. They want more and more and more. Eventually, you get sick of them. They're gone. Now you're going to have to find another one, build them up, train them up. They get the big head. Now they're gone. And just know that's the game that you're playing here. Okay? You could do that, or you could just figure out and watch my channel here that's about how to make millions of dollars running ad campaigns for your business and learn how to run ads for your company instead. Learn how to actually develop your own leads here. Yes, anybody can run ads, but not everybody wants to put the time in to learn how to actually get results running ads, which is where this is actually going to be a long-lasting, once you have it, a long-lasting revenue source for your business. Even if they can see you run your ads on Google, they don't understand the little micro nuances to run a Google ad that makes it work versus not make it work, because 80% of people who run Google ads don't even know that they're running their ads at a loss for the most part, because they don't do tracking of their ads, or they don't know what a cost per lead should be or whatever. And then you just understand how this game with Google Ads is played. Now you've got something that can't be replicated, and it's yours. More importantly, it's yours. It's going to keep working and working for years once you figured it out, versus, get a big head and leave the second, that they think that they're more important than you. So you could develop your own leads and hire your own closers, at least, because then if you're going to have to train salespeople and you hire your own salespeople to close these leads, you at least know once they're trained, you got them for the most part. Yes, they can get another job at another company that pays them more, but if you do your sales training right and you run your ad campaigns right, to where when people come in, they're super qualified, if you run an ad with the power of online ads and funnels and the information that you could give people online through a website, whatnot, through building up a following with social media even, you could get people who know everything about your company and your products or services when they come to your company and they want to buy ultimately. And with that, you're going to close at a super high rate. And one salesperson, we got people that run e-commerce companies that do $5 million a year in revenue, $10 million a year in revenue with one salesperson. Of course, if you're generating $10 million in sales revenue off of one salesperson, you can pay a lot of money to that salesperson to essentially just keep them around. All you got to do is pay them 15% higher than what they could get elsewhere, and there's nowhere else to go, effectively. People leave, for the most part, yes, because of bad management, so you can't have that. But as long as they know they can't get a better pay rate somewhere else, once you've got them trained up, which takes a while to make them a product expert, you don't have to worry about training anybody else again, dealing with anybody else again. So it totally flips this whole thing on its head, where you got to constantly churn, find salespeople, train salespeople, manage the egos of the salespeople, and then do it all over again. You find one really good person that has potential and you can train up from the ground up on your products or services, what makes them unique, how to sell them, and just ram a whole bunch of leads at them that are basically ready to buy, that they don't have to do the whole sales process for them, which makes it that them not have to be as talented to make a sale, and you'll keep them around because all you got to do is pay them 1% of the revenue, and they're already, in terms of their salary plus spiffs, and they're already making 6 figures. They're not going anywhere. That's not only a more profitable model, but a way less stressful model to go with, assuming that you don't call figuring out how to run ads profitably for your business stressful, because it certainly can be stressful for somebody who doesn't have any experience running ads. But all the information I could promise you to run successful ad campaigns is out there. You could watch my channel. There's other information out there. And you could start with little money, like I was saying at the start of this video. You could start out with that $10 a day, a month, or realistically more like $300 a month in ads, and make that ad budget you're starting with work and if you treat it like your life depends on it, that ad budget will eventually work. You'll make enough revisions, because with online ads you can do tracking to see if what you did worked or not. Did it get a lead? Did it get a sale or not? And what didn't get a sale, you can get the hell rid of. So you could reallocate that budget to something new that might work, and then you just keep doing that enough times, you'll eventually get it. Then you could then reinvest your money into more ad spend, and then you build it up. You build it up right. And then once you built it up right, nobody's going to F with you, and you've got a model that even if you didn't have any repeat customers in your business would be worth lots of money, because you could sell a company that has ad campaigns that predictably bring in money once you got it. So I know I run an ad agency, so my advice here, my opinion here might seem biased, but none of the business, I also am co-owners in multiple businesses that I have as well, e-commerce businesses, as well as service businesses, and I don't go with these independent sales reps mainly because I know how to run ads. But so in other words, you could think about it like this: if you know how to run ads, independent sales reps to try to generate business for your company is basically pointless and unattractive. We'll just say it's only attractive when you don't know how to run ads and aren't willing to know how to run ads. And hiring people to help you run the ads, most people don't. They had a bad experience with that in the past, which is why they went for the sales person's approach in the first place, which 9 out of 10 people you try to hire to get you a profitable ad campaign aren't going to work either. Going back, and the reason for that is it all ties in with the too good to be true thing. If you could pay somebody $500 a month to build you a multi-million-dollar a year ad campaign, your competitors would have already did it, and it's not so easy, So there are ad agencies that know what they're doing, but they're not $500 a month. They're going to be several grand a month for the most part, and even then, most of them are a scam. You got to know what you're doing halfway to even know who you're talking to. Is it pulling the rug over, the wool over your eyes? In short, if you want to know somebody who knows what they're doing, you could contact our agency. We're the only agency that guarantees results on our clients' campaigns before they have to pay fees. So there isn't any necessary, having to have so much base knowledge to know who to hire so you don't get ripped off, because we're willing to come halfway with the client, at least at the beginning, get you some sales results before you have to pay any fees to prove that we could deliver results for your company. You don't have to just totally pay a bunch of money and hope something happens, which is because of that whole thing. There's companies out there in the marketing space, more often than not, their whole model is take the money until you realize it doesn't work, and then you're gone. They know you're going to be gone, and they just use your money to get the next client, the next client, the next client. So, but anyway, I'm not going to talk any more about this. This isn't a sales pitch either, but that gives you my experience of what I've seen clients that use sales reps, when they are useful, when they aren't, what are the problems with using salespeople, what are the benefits with working with these freelance commission-only salespeople. So you can go ahead and do it. There's websites where you can find them, such as on Commission Crowd is one of the big ones right now, the main ones that you can use, where you can go post a job and find commission-only salespeople. You can go on Craigslist and look for that kind of thing. To end this, what I will tell you is finding commission-only salespeople that'll actually deliver is hard. Finding commission-only salespeople that will close leads, meaning you have an ad campaign and you just need a closer, very, very easy to do. Why? Because it takes less skill and it's more assured that the people working for you are going to make money. So if you want to hire salespeople, I would say go halfway with it. Commission-only salespeople, go halfway with it and figure out how to generate leads using display ads online, and then getting your salespeople to work the leads and make sales for you. If they were really layup sales to where they were just like, okay, I want to order, then you hire a real employee for that. But if they need coaxing to develop that lead, then you can hire independent salespeople to do that for you. Such as, people will run ads like, see the new solar tax credit available in 2024, and they'll generate a lead off of that. But it doesn't say if you want to buy solar panels, fill out this form. And then companies that do that will then have independent salespeople take the lead that they got from their ad campaign there and see if their salespeople can close. And if they can, then they've got a model that works, because it's hard to get somebody to want to buy a solar panel running ads on Facebook and stuff straight up. Because if they wanted a solar panel, they know they can go to Google in the first place. Not to say you can't, like have an ebook that they download from finding an ad on Facebook, and then have an email sequence that they eventually start getting more and more educated about solar panels and eventually have a lead that's ready to buy. You can do that. But there's that alternate way too, we'll just say. But anyway, you get what I'm generally trying to say here. You got several options. You can develop leads and do online marketing to the point where you just have qualified leads ready to buy and then just hire a closer because that's what makes sense. Or you can develop lukewarm leads and then hire commission-only people to sell and go that direction. Or you could go independent only, you do no online ads, and then babysit a bunch of salespeople and hopefully they deliver, but it's really hard to find those people that actually can deliver, and they're still going to ask tons of questions and waste your time while they're at it. So the ad route is the more predictable, easy to manage thing long term, even though it's going to be more work / cost more money for you in the short term. You can either roll up your sleeves and learn it yourself, which takes more time, i.e. to run ads takes more time, or you can pay somebody like our firm to run your ads, which is going to cost you more money. So you can decide time or money, what you want to invest in it to get an ad campaign working. But it's generally, just based upon what I know already, I can tell you it's better to do that than to just try to find these people that can sell your product and then have to manage those people's egos later on and so forth. That said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about anything I shared today or any ad-related questions while we're at it, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. If you liked the video, I would appreciate if you would give the video a like and consider subscribing, as I have a ton of other content like this on this channel about how to make money with online ads. And it's the best information you're going to find on YouTube, as it's coming straight from the source from somebody who just does ad strategy all day long. I'm not just a professional YouTuber or course seller or any of that other jazz. I just do ad strategy, and I have a YouTube account on the side. So you should subscribe to this channel if you really want to learn how to run ads. Furthermore, if you like my channel, you'll love my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog, as well as my column on entrepreneur.com that I also have. Beyond that, if you are looking for an ad manager, I am the best ad manager that you could find to run your ads. And I also guarantee all the work that I do in that we can guarantee more sales results on your campaign before there's a fee to be paid, or more leads, depending on what you're doing. With that said, we have to like what you have to offer before we can work with you. But if you want to see if we can work together, reach out to my firm. I'll give you a free analysis, let you know what results we can get with your campaign up front, so you would at least know. And beyond that, if you are looking for results, but you don't want to hire us as your ad agency or an ad agency in general, we offer campaign templates that work for your industry if we've worked in your industry before. And you're not competing with anybody we're currently working with. In that, you could take the ads, the landing pages, the campaigns that work for a client in your industry that we have that's in your industry already or have worked with in the past, and then just copy and paste those results into your account so to say. And with that, you're going to spend less money on the templates that we have already that work in your industry than you will figuring out all this stuff for yourself and building it all out for yourself. And we've worked in over 100 markets at this time, so chances are we've worked in your market. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me and I'll let you know what results we got in your industry before. Even if we haven't worked in your industry, we've got people that are using these templates since they opened this program up and are literally running side businesses where they'll sell the leads, or you'll have somebody else do the operational side. And because they have the templates that work, you know, it's almost a passive income business. So if you're interested in that type of thing, reach out to me. I've got that as well. And we could tell you what results we have in your industry or an industry, you know, that you might be interested in. I'll wrap it up with that though. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great strategy for you then. See you later.